Alright, let's take a look at what the camera can see. Start the feed. Cool. So this is the batteryless Eon, and we have a DC to DC buck converter chip here. Takes in 5 volt to 24 volt power and feeds in 3.8 volts into the battery board scavenged from the lithium ion battery of the 3T. We have the system on a chip, the Snapdragon, I believe is under here, that I use some thermal paste to heat sink to the rear casement. And I'll have to keep the cats off the table. Go. So, our goal is, as we know, the Eon is nothing more than a phone running some software and a 3D printed case with some extra cooling. So, it's easier to buy and install than it is to build your own. Trust me, I know. Sometimes the price premium is worth it, for sure. Hello. Let's go ahead and start taking apart this 3T. Hold on, I need to get the cat off the table. Go. Go, go, go. Get off the table. Off the table. Thank you. Perfect. Yeah, I'm using a coffee mug and a cell phone car holder mount. That's my setup. It's pretty ghetto. We need somewhere to put the parts. That works for me. And there's the battery board that came off the lithium ion battery. The terminals of the lithium ion battery, terminals of the lithium ion battery connect to this little board. So if you solder some leads on and provide 3.8 volts or somewhere around there, you can plug it directly in without needing a battery that will expand or explode in your hot car. So. We'll pop off this antenna cable. Now I killed this 3T because I've gotten some thermal paste on the camera module due to not being too careful here. So I used isopropyl alcohol to try to clean the camera lens, which clouded the sensor, unfortunately. I have a spare X727 camera module here that presumably works, and I should be able to use it with the extension cable. However, the cable orientation between the 3T and the LEX727 is reversed, so you just can't plug it in without an extension cable, unfortunately. However, I could possibly get away with mounting the camera backwards, which is something that we can test. Next to come out is the display ribbon, which wraps around to the back of the board. Let's make sure we have all of our screws. Yes, we seem to have all the screws. PCB is snapped into the top here. There we go. So the whole brains of OpenPilot and what's piloting your car is this little module right here. It's all that's technically required to drive your car. It's pretty amazing when you think about it. Opens lots of opportunities for custom hardware and otherwise. So I will just see if the LEX727 camera fits the connector. I think they're both 32 pin. The pitch may be different. So we'll pop the 3T camera out. And we will attempt to pop the Lee Eco camera module in. These are both IMX298 camera modules. It's claimed that the OpenPilot model only works with this camera module. However, if you look through the code in Vision D, there are 7 cameras that have transforms and such in the file. So anyway, the Lee Eco camera module fits. However, it does not line up, and we don't know if we have the connection reversed or not. We would have to look. Sorry, we would have to look at the board of the Lee Eco. Let's pop that back off. We have the front-facing camera module here. That's what does driver attention awareness. So my goal is to design some sort of 3D printed enclosure, preferably that's white, that mounts the board within in the camera somewhere where we can see outside of the module, of course. And then we'll have to account for the driver monitoring camera somehow, or just disable the functionality. Ideally, I like to keep that working. Excuse me. All right, so there's the board. Let's take out the USB-C speaker. Sorry. Like I said, I don't know where my tripod is. Okay. That screw hole is broken. And the bottom module pops out. Oh, I guess there are ribbon connectors down here. Don't forget those. This is your USB flex, and it has a USB-C speaker, all that lovely stuff in there. And I need to grab a USB cable. I will be right back, and I'll try to get some more lighting going. extension cord. Oh, it looks like my, there we go. I got scared after about cleaning it the first orientation I tried, yeah. Sorry, I'm not able to read YouTube comments. And last time I did, I got distracted and broke my screen. Alright, maybe some more lighting. If possible. Come on. There we go. Alright, not having a good time with the lighting arrangement. Anyway, USB cable here. And I suppose our objective should be getting a display cable that we need. So we're going to need to separate the display from the frame. And since the display is already broken, we're not going to use it. We can get a little destructive. Actually, let's see. Cool. We'll just go ahead and break the screen out of there. It's already broken. There is a correct way, but I don't feel like grabbing my heat gun. And I don't really care about this this 3T. I have several. Well, two. Alright, and that's how you properly remove the display of your 3T Eon. You just crack it out of place. Without getting glass shards in your eyes. It'd also be good to wear gloves during this process. Especially when you're dealing with a, I'm going to be right back. I'm going to do this outside so I don't glass everywhere. Now, after we've properly separated the display from the 3T, along with its jagged edges, you'll then want to take this PCB ribbon cable here. This has the, long story short, the 3T refuses to boot without a display connected, but if you can trick the device into thinking that there is a display connected, then you're all set to go. So with my testing and some others, we'll need to see, to run displayless, you'll just need the actual display cable and leave that plugged in. I'm going to go cut this off of the actual panel itself. Alright, so we have successfully removed the display ribbon cable from the display module. This is now trash. It looks like I also broke the button ribbon cable. I don't care. We don't need that. So, theoretically, let's go and reconnect the camera module. Hopefully it dried out. Okay, so there's our camera module, and now we can take the display cable. Being mindful of how it was connected so we don't orient it backwards, get wrapped around the board like this. I'm getting thermal paste all over myself. All right. Just careful. You got to be careful to line these connectors up because you can break them rather easily if you force the connector and it is not fitting properly. So just take your time. All right, we have the ribbon cable connected. This should fake the board into believing there's a display connected. You should be able to get around having to have this cable connected by building your own Android kernel, but ain't nobody got time for that. So, getting the paper towel here. Maybe trying to get my lighting set back up. All right, so for what cables need to be connected, we have two ribbon cables going from the secondary board. We have a camera, we have USB-C, I'm sorry, we don't have a camera, we have a speaker, we have USB-C, we have a headphone jack. There are two connectors for the home button and the two side buttons, I do believe. I wonder if we could get away without having to connect the secondary ribbon cable. This seems to be directly into the USB-C, so technically if you were to remove this USB-C jack from this assembly, you could get away with just connecting the USB-C directly to the board. However, for testing, I'm just going to connect it as it was in the phone and see what works. Okay, we have the secondary board. So this is basically what a neon is. This is the main board and the flex board. Then there's some sort of power storage. This is the battery. And that's all that really drives your car. So we're going to take the, I super glued this buck converter on because I wanted it to stay with the phone, but we're going to try removing it without breaking it. Now if we do break it, we're kind of screwed. Because I don't feel like soldering another one right now. Well, yeah, that's a good adhesive there. I'll be right back and try to get this off the board. All right, perfect. I think I was able to remove it from the board without damaging anything. And I'm going to share this live stream somewhere else. Cool. So we're going to validate to make sure this is set to the correct voltage, because if it's not, hey, chill it. All right, running out of cable, running out of places to put things. However, we'll go ahead and crimp, DuPont crimp these wires so I can use it with my modified USB cable. If you've never crimped DuPont connectors before, it really sucks. So you have these little connectors and they go on the wires here, and you have to have 3 hands. Sorry, the cat's playing. Okay, so we'll go ahead and crimp these connectors on. It helps if you haven't had too much coffee because my hands are shaking. This is the DuPont crimp tool. And you have to line everything up while not smashing your fingers. This may take the longest out of the whole process so far to do this correctly. Cool, we got one crimped. White's positive here, just because I wanted white to be positive, I guess. There's the second DuPont connector. Okay, so we have a positive, negative. Let's verify this is still 3.8 volts. And I have it set up off of this really janky USB cable. I should probably put some caps on this so I don't short anything out. I'm gonna have to kill my Mac. So it looks like this connector will work. So we will pop in our DuPont connectors into the female DuPont connector thingy. One. Sometimes you really have to cram them in if you don't crimp them absolutely correctly. Oh, we just broke. That was a bad crimp. Ever gonna have to redo that? So you take your DuPont connectors. Put them on the wires. I'm just going to do this off camera so I can actually see what I'm doing this time. Okay, there's one. And we'll do 2. Let's see the second. That seems to be good. We'll find ourselves another female connector. 1, 2. Perfect. Okay, so we properly terminated that connection. Now, positive is center on this. And we are connected to USB. And I will connect this to my Mac. Okay, we're live. And I will look at the voltage. 3.84 volts, perfect. So that's what the battery is rated for, is 3.84 volts. Of course you can go above or below that, but I just set it at the voltage of the actual battery cell, just for sanity. Cool, so this Eon should technically boot when we hook everything up. I guess it's not an Eon anymore. Yeah. But for all intents and purposes. So let's see. I likely want to connect the, let's move this battery module cable just so it's not twisted. Okay, and we will connect with center being positive, so we don't blow anything up. It's suck a lot. Okay, so we have battery, quote unquote battery power going into Eon. Now we'll connect to USB. And the Eon should be booting. How we're going to verify this is that it should automatically connect to Wi-Fi. So we will take a look to see if it appears on the Wi-Fi network. Let's see, we have IP address 180. Okay, so let's make sure this connection is actually live. Waiting for it to boot. We have a red LED, so that's a good sign. Red, usually, I think red means it's charging. We're going to ping the, let's see, what IP address did I have this configured at? Not 180. We'll just wait. And since we're technically connected to the Mac, I could see if it appears as a USB device. ADB devices. Fast boot devices. Nada. So a problem that I did not anticipate is needing to hold buttons on buttons to get the phone into fast boot mode and otherwise to use. And what buttons wouldn't be there? Where's the casement? I'll be right back. Let me find a casement. Alright, so our buttons are unfortunately spring contacts. Spring contacts on the display frame. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and disconnect power and try to crank this back in the display frame just so we can get button usage to see if it appears as a fast boot device. Alright, we're lined up. Snap in. There we go. And this is going to be rather difficult as the Eon attempts to boot. Oh, on the plus side, the vibrator motor is up top, so we'll be able to see if the phone vibrates to register that it is indeed booting. So that'll be the first thing that we try. Still no devices there. I have everything connected. So unfortunately we're going to have to hold down the top volume rocker while booting to attempt to get the device into fast boot mode. So this may be a little bit of a juggle. Okay. Yep. I'm going to wrap this display cable around. Come on. Okay. Volume up is pressed. Oh, shit. And now we plug it in. Oh. What a pain in the ass. Let's go for a power cycle. Okay, the button is depressed for sure. Volume up, boot. Should be in fast boot now. And nada, unfortunately. So with the display module disconnected, you can still get the phone into DFU mode, and you can flash it with Qualcomm tuning, but it really doesn't want to boot without a display connected. So I did get this working once. It was when I ripped off the display cable while the phone was still on, and OpenPilot worked normally without a display until you rebooted, and then I imagine that it kernel panics every other time. Another thing I need to check to see if my phone's Wi-Fi is hotspots on, because my Eons are configured to try to connect to my hotspot there. And also, I could have a bad connection for the external power for the quote-unquote battery. Okay, it's powered, waiting for the red LED. Let's see if we get the red LED this time. Okay, we had a blink of the red LED just for a moment. We'll give it a few to boot. And we'll watch our USB devices. Okay, we have a solid red light, which should indicate that the phone is running. I don't believe we get a charge light unless the phone is actually booted to an operating system. I could be wrong. Well, let's give it a little bit more time to see if it actually connects to Wi-Fi. Because it connects via Wi-Fi, we know that it's working. Another test that we could do is actually connect it to Panda and wait 5 minutes and see if we get dash errors, and of course try to engage to see what happens there. I think that'll be the next thing that we try. Seeing the red LED is giving me a little bit of hope here. Of course, without a display, right now without a display, we require some custom software because you can't pair your Eon to your Comet account without a display. You can't run through the initial setup wizard or anything like that. You could get by with copying, I believe, data params D to the device, and that should work for some of that. But there's definitely still more things you'd have to figure out. So we're still not getting it on Wi-Fi. I don't remember if I left what I should have checked before I ripped the display to bits, right? This is always what happens when I live stream. But the next test, we're gonna go ahead and go plug it into the car. Might be important for me to have my car keys, so I'll be right back. You can take a look at my wall. Alright, so looking for my keys. They're probably over there. Cool. So, totally not dressed or hairdyed for a live stream to fuck it, right? Alright. Oh god, it's hot. Okay. So I have a handy dandy phone holder. Weird to mount the phone backwards, but alright, it's hot. Alright, so we have the existing Eon. I'll go ahead and plug this monstrosity in. This is evidence that I avoided any Panda warranty, by the way. Just kidding. Alright, we are connected to Panda, and I'm going to give it a few minutes to boot. Wait for the red LED to come on. In fact, I have my DSU connected, so if it boots, my dash here should go away. Okay, we have a red LED